Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 126. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm super grateful to have you on this channel for tuning in, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a lot of value. So as you know, in this video we're gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities did we have, and what we of course can expect potentially to happen for the upcoming week. This week was actually very nice. We had again some huge moves, but I got the direction wrong a couple of times, and actually, to be honest, all of my trades were against the trend. So later I analyzed if I just followed the trend and if I just kept going with the momentum, it would have gone much better. But I tried to trade the pullbacks mostly on EU, and I lost. So I am down a little bit more than 1% with commissions, which of course is not a big deal, and definitely gonna recover this with only a single trade next week. But definitely gonna step up the game because November hasn't been amazing for me. There were a lot of things to distract me, and this week I was actually ready to crush it, but EU wasn't really kind to me. So it is what it is. We're always gonna have losing weeks, losing days, and losing months, so there is nothing to be stressed about. But I really hope you guys had an amazing week and managed to capitalize on some great opportunities. All right, so if you're new to this channel, it is all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I give my best to share an educational piece of content or a trade setups breakdown video. So make sure you are subscribed, turn on the notification bell, and also I've been asked a lot for a Black Friday sale or something like this. So I opened up a coupon code for my private community and the private program, which is tons of value, and it's gonna be changing a lot in the upcoming year. So make sure to get in right now. The code is special15. I'm also gonna type it in the description, and it's gonna give you some great discounts. So make sure to check it out. And of course, before we start, I wanna say that I am also trading crypto, and I do it with Forex.com. It is an amazing broker. It has some great spreads, but what I love about it and about their eco account is that every single lot that you trade, the commission goes towards planting 10 trees. So I really think that is great. They give back to the environment. So I love this initiative. So make sure to check them out. Link will be down in the description. And of course, let's have a look right now at the market. All right, as always, starting with the DXY, let's have a look what happened this week with pretty much another bullish engulfing candle, another continuation from last week. And if you remember what I told you, actually, we examined a couple of pushes. For example, this bearish push right there, where we had a couple of weeks of straight bearishness, and this bullish week right there, 5 weeks of bullishness. And we spotted that not always you're gonna have a nice pullback. Look, this candle closed, we just opened and we flushed. All right. So basically my biggest mistake this week was to wait for a bigger pullback. So I expected to have a bigger pullback right there on the weekly, a bigger wick to the downside, and then to potentially continue with the long bias. But of course the market just opened. We had a very little pullback and we just continued to push into the highs. And we were also in this big region right there, which we're right now tapping inside. Why do I take it like this? Well, because it's a whole zone. This is kind of a supply zone, a big buy, and then a very big sell-off. This is where all the orders were initiated. So pretty much from 96.50 all the way to 97.50 will be a potential area for a sell. And I don't mean like a big sell-off, but potentially then we can get a proper pullback. Okay, but of course what could happen next week is we can have another little pullback to the downside and then an expansion to the upside to close another bullish week. So again, guys, don't make my mistake like this week. Just keep following the trend. Okay, because as you can see, we opened right there on the 15th, and what I told you guys on Saturday is there is our range. Let me do it in the normal flip. There is our range. What I want to see is the market to pull back towards the 50%, or not to say maybe even come to retest these regions right there. But as you can see, we just opened a massive pump to the highs. Then you expect another pullback, then you have another day of bullishness, then another pullback, another day of bullishness. And as you can see, the market just kept climbing up. And if we also examine the 4H, like on Monday, we just had that little pullback and we expanded higher. Then again on Tuesday, we had this sort of pullback right there, which was not even a pullback, expanded higher. And then of course we tapped into a strong region right there on the weekly, and we started initiating this very complex pullback. And then of course this is the only clear buy trade, or the only clear demand that I spotted, which is this one, Why? Well, because we rallied right there, we stopped for a little bit, and then we exploded on Tuesday from here. So the market came in right there, it reacted, but on that day, I think I was looking for a gap, gap fill right there. We had a gap, but what the market did, this is actually Friday. Yes, I was also ready to trade on Friday, but the market just opened right there. Frankfurt, this is New York open, 15 minutes before London open, and we just exploded into the highs. Right, and before that we had this very nice pullback. We could have taken some longs on EU as well, shorts on the DXY, but I'm gonna show you all the trades that I took, but not really gonna focus onto them much. So what we can expect this week, right? Seeing what is the current behavior of the market, I would really need to see a clear shift before I really start to look for shorts. But pretty much our range started again from right there. The 9th of November, pushed into the highs. Right now we're starting to see some little bit of a pullback, and also right here on Monday we pretty much created this base which can act as potential demand for the market to push higher, right? Dropping onto the daily, the 4 hourly, we are still pretty much bullish. Again, we're coming from this area right there, so let's see if we're gonna have a new high, and I do think we're gonna have it, because look how flat that is. They're pretty much equal right there. So I do believe that the DXY could start by creating a high, so a wick high right there. So again, you can see I immediately, and I do believe all of us are like this, we try to catch the top, right? We try to predict where the market is going to reverse. So what I'm telling you right now, and I'm immediately spotting this pattern, is that I'm telling you, okay, push into the highs and then a sell-off. While what we should be doing is just following the trend. So where is our higher low? It's this one. Although it hasn't broken structure yet, this is where the market reversed from by tapping into the previous level of demand. So right now, this is the new one. So again, I would really appreciate a break of structure first with a body close so that it can confirm a high, and then potentially a pullback into this area will be a buying opportunity, and a potential push higher could be expected. Okay, so I am pretty bullish on the DXY. Still keeping in mind that we can have a bigger pullback, but in order to have this, guys, we need a clear 4 hourly shift. Do we have it? No. Where is our major higher low right now? Well, yeah, this is not really nice, but this is it. This is basically where we stopped and where we made a higher high. So as long as this is intact, we are bullish. If this price action right now creates a higher high with a body close above, then this is gonna make this our major higher low, right? And as long as we remain above, we're also bullish. Okay. So let's keep this in mind, and of course, guys, let's see how the week is gonna open. Keep in mind that we're tapping into some very strong levels right there of supply. This is like where we chopped around and then we massively exploded. So some sort of bearish reaction is expected. When? We don't know, and this is why we have to wait, adapt to the market, and of course follow what the structure tells us. Currently we're bullish, so let's keep buying the dollar until it shows us otherwise. Let's have a look at EU. Look at that bearish engulfing candle. I really hope some of you guys managed to capitalize on some nice shorts on EU. Let me know in the comments if you did, because I didn't, and I'm pretty sad about this. But yeah, so pretty much we opened the week, very minor pullback on Monday, and then we just kept flushing for quite some days in a row, right? But again, we already did the job right there. We already consolidated, we already pumped the orders in, and as we created this bearish engulfing candle, then the market is just ready to commit to the downside, and it just kept flushing down. All right, so pretty much looking for longs right now is a little bit of a suicide if you really do not have a very clear confirmation. Okay, so I've been mentioning this level for quite some time. This has been a target since we were trading up right here. I do believe since we broke this level right there, this was the target, and we have finally achieved it and tapped inside. So right now, as I told you, also DXY is tapping into such a level, we can expect a reaction, not a reversal and a higher high, but a reaction for a pullback, lower high, and then a continuation to the downside. Okay, seeing how it failed to create a new higher high from here, and seeing how it actually responded from this big supply right there, it makes me think that EU can even start targeting these lows, which is a very big forecast right there. But of course, this could definitely happen. And I do think this is not going to be the area for a potential reversal. I do believe we're going to tap inside these areas right here, and from there we're going to see also fundamentally and economically if we can actually start having some bullishness on EU. Okay, but the DXY looks pretty bullish. Although inflation should be weakening the dollar, we're having tapering right now and all other sort of stuff that are supporting bullishness on the dollar. So let's see for how long this is going to sustain, and as long as it does, EU is going to flush. Okay, so dropping onto the daily to examine how all the days played out. Well, pretty much there is our open. So we closed with a very nice lower low. So again, to my mind, I immediately am like, okay, cool. Well, there is my range. Beautiful. I'm looking for a pullback. I'm going to short this market out very nicely. But it opens, creates a very little pullback of 20 pips, flushes. Tuesday opens, flush. Wednesday opens, flush, right? We had a little pullback on Thursday, which was really nice. And then, of course, Friday also ended up taking out this low, which was a new lower low. So again, so what is our range? Well, I still consider it to be this big daily range right there, but the 4 hourly is a completely different story, which is where I want to focus on. Which is a little confusion that we had. I was doing, I think, a webinar for the community, or it was a morning analysis. And we had a couple of things to look at. So again, as I told you, this was the daily range right there. But we also had a 4 hourly range that started from this move and ended up right there. So what I was saying is, okay, cool. So the market has pulled back into 50% of the 4 hourly range, but still has to climb into the daily. So which one do we consider? And this week, I'm going to be extremely honest with you guys. I got the direction wrong numerous times, or I was just at the wrong side of the market. So I lost a couple of trades. It's not a big deal, but yeah, I've not been very good at identifying what the market is doing. And pretty much once the market starts to trade with momentum and I stop getting clear pullbacks, I start losing, which is like a part of my edge because I always like waiting for pullbacks. And if the market does not pull back, I tend to look for retracement trades, which is something that I really have to fix. I'm not perfect. I'm still working on it. And yeah, but pretty much we had a great opportunity for shorts right there and a potential lower low. So what can I expect for the upcoming week? This is why I really want to focus on the 4H. Where is the flow going? So there is our supply. Right now, oops, where did it go? High time from supply. It got respected. What it did is it made a new low. Did it break it with a clear body? Well, no. Is it valid? We can say yes. Okay. So what is our new range right now on the 4H? Because I don't want to drop to the daily right now and tell you, yo guys, we're once again looking for a pullback right there. This is absolutely possible if we start failing to make a new low, and then potentially my shorting area will be this range right there, which hasn't been tapped yet, which perfectly resonates with the daily leg right now. Because if I drop the daily leg, this is the first area above the 50%. So we can really short the market from right here. But first of all, we got to get there. And in order to get there, we're going to turn pretty bullish. And then we have to wait for a new change in order to short the market again. Okay, so let's focus right now on the 4H. What do we have is a bearish market. The flow is bearish, respecting supply. Where is our new one? Well, yeah, it's a very little candle right here. So possibly what you need to do in this occasion is drop to a higher time frame, which is the 8 hourly, for example. And I'm gonna take this bearish candle just because it looks a little bit bigger. Okay, then dropping back to the 4H, we can delete this, and there is our setup. So what I would love to see is a potential pullback into this sort of region, a lower high formation, and then potentially rushing into the lows to take out and create a new lower low, right? So what we have already is pretty much a pullback into 50% and already a retracement. So pretty much this setup could already be in play. We can already flush lower, but if not, then this high is just gonna become a potential liquidity to be taken. We're gonna tap inside this region right there, and from there we're gonna sell it off. Okay, so guys, this is my overview on EU. I'm pretty bullish. Again, I always allow for Monday to develop a little bit before I strike, or if I trade on Monday, I do it with low risk. So yeah, this is my breakdown on EU. Have a look at it, screenshot it, drop it on your charts, and let's see if we're gonna have some bearish continuations. I don't want to spend a lot of time on my trades this week, but of course, as I'm always transparent and as I've been doing it for some time, let's have a look. I don't think there is a lot to learn from the trades this week. This is why I did not also do a trade setups breakdown video. But pretty much on Monday, again, I was expecting this pullback to the upside, and I spotted that the 15-minute has made some shifts. And again, like wick breaks right there, which is not very significant, but right there during Asia, this is the Asian range. Those two black lines. We had a massive pump into the high, so pretty much the market came back into this newly created demand, and I took 2 longs with 0.25% risk. The first one was aggressive from the zone itself, 4 pip stop loss. Then we had a couple of structure breaks and I continued to follow the momentum. So my second one was executed from right there. I'm also going to share my entries so you can see them. And yeah, it looked very nice. It was in profit. It gave a good reaction, but then it stopped me out on both for a 0.50% loss. And there were a couple of shorting opportunities to be taken. You can see how the market started creating lower lows. But if you're kind of bullish for the day, you really want to see that break to the upside on the 15-minute, which did not happen at all. So definitely what the opportunities would have been is just shorting the market, right? But it's really easy to say it right now, but realistically, once you are on the charts and you have a different bias, it's pretty much hard to do this, right? So this is those are my first trades right there. I hope you can learn something from it, but the biggest lesson is just follow the flow. And if you're bullish, it's cool. Sometimes, guys, we are gonna be on the wrong side of the market, and this is absolutely fine, right? But again, a skill is to make sure that you adapt faster to what is happening. Then this one is something that I could have adapted much better to it. So again, I told my team in the morning on this one, guys, we are bearish. There is our hourly supply. The market very sharply pushed outside. We beautifully pulled back into it. And also another lesson that I want to give you is have a look how much time it took the market to go down. So from here to here, it took the market 1 hour and 50 minutes. And since we started pulling back into the zone, it took the market 5 hours and 30 minutes. What does this suggest is that we are bearish, right? And we tapped inside this area, but I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting the market to tap again right here to take out the Asian high and then to potentially start reversing down, or to completely reverse and have that big pullback. So again, I was in the wrong mindset this week, and then later I did not adapt to take the short. I was actually ready to take it, but I didn't because we had CPI at that time and I preferred not to get into the whipsaw. But what I did is, again, simply my pattern. We took out the Asian low, which is liquidity. We liquidated this. We pushed into the high. Supply was still in control, and then we broke. So the first trade that I took was taken from here, slightly bit aggressive with a bigger stop loss. Then as we broke and showed commitment to the upside, the market pulled back and I took my other trade from right there. I'm gonna share the entries as well so you can see them. And I was planning to take bigger partials right there. It says 30%, but I was already thinking that if we take the Asian high, we could flush. So then I'm gonna look for shorts towards a deeper level. So I was planning to take 80% right there. But as you can see, the market gave me a good reaction. It broke structure, but then it just flushed. This one was a stop loss for 0.25% because immediately if I start getting into drawdown and if I see that I'm not performing well or not understanding, I reduce my risk. My usual risk is 0.50. This is what I currently trade with until I scale my account even bigger so that I have a good buffer. And yeah, this one was a 0.25. This one was a break even. I closed this one as I saw that the market is not going to pump up, and I think I closed it after this push right there. And then pretty much I failed to adapt. The market showed great commitment to the downside. It created what I taught in the supply and demand video, a range, manipulation of the range, continuation to the downside, which creates a very nice delivery for a supply. I was looking to take a short from here during the news, but I knew that there is news. I saw this range, so I didn't commit to it. But then we pushed into the downside. We manipulated into the highs into this region, and this was actually the trade of the week, I can say, because it was really clear, but it would have required an aggressive entry, which I'm not a huge fan of. But that was a great trade, and those are trades that I start including in my plan to potentially start taking. So that was my Tuesday, guys, with a 0.25% loss, so I'm down 0.75 at that time. And also I took another, look at that, guys, like you're gonna say this guy right now cannot trade. Like we are in a beautiful bearish market, yet your guy takes longs. I'm sorry, guys. So what we have right here, again, I was spotting, and what I told my team in the morning, guys, we have the same situation. We're having supply. The market massively dropped inside. We're pulling back into supply, and I was looking to take a short right there. But what I was really happy with is that I saw that the market did not really commit to the downside. And I tried to short right there. I'm not sure if I get an entry though. And then we had this very nice push into the highs, right? And I took the 30-minute level, which is this kind of level right there. We pushed into the highs, we broke structure, we took out the Asian range, which was again pretty much a liquidity grab for the market to continue going down. But what your guy did is he tries to revenge the market and catch the long. I wasn't really revenging, I was really trading my patterns, but Somehow I was always getting on the wrong side. So I was just following the lower lows right there, and on the first sign of a new higher high, I took a trade right there, again with reduced risk 0.25, and this was a very quick stop loss right there, for which led me to lose 1% and a little bit more with commissions, right? And then I didn't adapt once again to take shorts. I was also busy with some other stuff, and once I start the week like this, I usually get into a kind of a bad mindset. So I look to step away a little bit to balance myself out, to come out better probably the next day. But then on Thursday, we did not have any opportunities that I looked at. And on Friday, I was looking to short, but the market just decided to flush all of a sudden on market open. So there is your market open. There was a little opportunity right there, but I didn't take it, and then we just flushed. Okay, so guys, not the best week, not proud of it, but of course I am transparent, and I want to say to you that not every week is a winning one, and of course not every month is a winning one. So let's see how next one is gonna go out. Probably much better, because I've learned my lessons and I'm really ready to strike back. So let's see. Euro-yen seems to have been starting to kick in with some selling pressure, and my first impression on the weekly is that we are definitely going for those lows. Okay, so are we gonna do it first thing in the weekly open? Are we gonna take out the lows and then to potentially look for a pullback, or are we first gonna initiate a little pullback and then a potential flush? Well, we shall see. Okay, but this low is definitely the target, because this is where the liquidity is. This is where the targets are. Pretty much in terms of a weekly, I see this range and this initiation outside of the range as a potential demand area. So this is where I would be targeting. It's not very clear, but again, it's a hard time frame region that we can definitely look at. And yeah, as you can see, we opened up right there, straight bearishness, little pullback, bearishness, bigger pullback, bearishness Friday. So absolutely beautiful textbook bearish market. And yeah, this one right here was a beautiful opportunity. I think this happened on Friday. Once again, yeah, we just opened and we flushed. But as you can see, a pretty nicely flowing bearish market, creating lower highs and lower lows. We had a big range right there. But where is your high of the range? Is right here. And as long as we remain above it, below it, we are pretty bearish. We pulled back, and I hope some of you managed to take some shorts from here. But pretty much not to cover what is happening during this week or to explore any opportunities. Currently, the market is really retesting the absolute extreme of this leg, and it's reacting very nicely from it. But according to me, this is just a reaction. So we can do two things on this one. It's very similar to EU. We can either create a bigger pullback, or we can just flush. Why? Because we already pulled back into 50%. And this is pretty much enough for the market to continue dropping, and we have the same as on EU. So what can I say? Well, pretty much I would really love to short this one. Let's try again the 8 hourly. Yeah, I can even take a bigger area. I can take this bullish candle as a potential supply, right? I would really love to see a slightly bigger pullback on this one. The 15-minute time frame is look like it has changed, because you can see right there we created a low, but then we broke the high right now. So currently we can either respond from this region right there. Let's make it blue, or maybe the lower one. But don't rush too much to be taking longs, because we're already pulled back into 50% and we can just plummet to the downside. But if any case we actually respect this one and start pumping up, this will be a great level to short at a much higher price, and then you have a lot of space to pretty much TP at this weekly low. Okay, but then the other situation will be, guys, for us to create this sort of a 4 hourly lower high with this wick, then to push to the downside to make a new low, and then what we do is we just follow the momentum, because then this big wick is going to create our lower high, and what we have to do is just wait. We're going to have a brand new range from the high to the low, wait for the pullback, and then continue lower. Okay, so this is my view on EJ. I hope we have this pullback so we can catch a nice short, but if not, we adapt and we are bearish. Be careful with longs. Let's have a look at the Aussie, starting from AU. So once again, another very nice bearish week. So I start to consider that, because again, guys, if you remember, we were pretty bullish on this pair, but right now it starts to look a little bit bearish, right? It looks like we took out this high, but we tapped into some sort of supply on the left right there, and it looks like we're really starting to reverse right now, don't we? So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, which is where we had this kind of battle between supply and demand, because we're coming from this very strong region. We tapped inside, we reversed the structure, we pulled back, higher low, we pushed into the highs, but it looks like there was a lot of power inside this region right there, and we're really starting to break. So if this low is broken, which I do think we're possibly starting to reach out for, then this market is going to become bearish. And of course, guys, it really makes sense for AU to flush down, because the DXY is just on a rampage to the upside, right? And what I start seeing right now is where possibly some of you might go wrong. As you see the demand, you try to take a long, you lose. Another demand, long, lose. Another demand, long, lose, right? So the market just keeps making lower highs while we try to long, which is what I try to do on EU. And this is a big mistake that all of us have to learn and become more aware of, right? So pretty much right now, what I can say is that we're super bearish. The bullishness to the upside is absolutely the same as the bearishness to the downside. So even I can see that there are a lot of big bearish candles to indicate a lot of bearish momentum. Beautiful lower highs and lower lows created. So let's just stick with that. Let's not try to find something on the left that we're going to react from and reverse from. Well, it's always good to spot, because then you know where you can potentially expect the pullback from, right? So that you can potentially start taking pullback trades and then of course go with the trend. Because again, we had this one right here. The market beautifully reacted, but you should be ready with your bearish bias, drop your range, 50% pullback, short it, okay? Another one, big range to the downside, right? Where did it tap? Yeah, it's not very clear, but it tapped into something, it reacted. Where is your range? Here. Where is your supply? This big candle right there. Above 50%, short it. Okay, don't try to long the market and try to say that it's gonna reverse from some sort of level on the left. Okay, so pretty much what we have right now, let's zoom in, is a brand new lower low. Yep, which means that we have also a lower high, which is gonna be this one for me. We broke structure to the downside right there. We already pulled back, which is very strange. Again, it's a strange delivery that we have right now on all the pairs. And as you can see, unlike the other ones, this one pulled back very nicely, and it's already on the move down towards creating a new low, which is a very difficult situation right now for the week's open, because we're potentially going to tap, we're going to potentially break this one, tap inside, and then we have to see if we're really going to flush to the downside. Then we have to start following momentum on the move on the way down. Or are we going to tap inside and then create a very nice pullback, lower high, 50% pullback, and then potentially start heading lower? Okay, if we have this, then our range is going to become this one, and we're going to have this very big wick to work from. Why? Because this is creating a very strong supply that would potentially break structure. Okay, so this analysis got a little bit too complicated, but we have a couple of things and a couple of scenarios to expect. So once again, as we see how it's starting to head to the downside, I really think we're going to take out the low at the beginning of the week. So there is your first scenario, right? And the second scenario is an immediate pullback, and then potentially we can see a short again. As for longs, I would advise you not to do so, but if we tap inside and then if you really see a clear momentum shift on the lower time frame, then of course you can do that. But I would much advise you to look for the shorts, because this is where the trend is going, right? AJ, very nice pullback right now. And again, we can take the weaker range from the high to the low. We just tapped 50%, which is really good. But let's see what's happening right now. The market is absolutely bearish. The first clear region that I see on the left is this daily candle, which is kind of a sell before a big buy. So this is a demand. And yeah, daily. So on the day right there, we actually had some sort of a pullback on this one, which is really good. Pullback on Monday, pullback on Tuesday, flush on Wednesday, pullback on Thursday, flush on Friday. So very nice this one. I hope some of you also are trading this pair. Once again, this is nicely following the range. So we had a nice push to the downside with pullback. Yeah, maybe the range actually started from right here. So we pull back into 50%. So right now we have a brand new range. There it is. And once again, we already pulled back into the 50%, and we're headed into the lows. So once again, if we make a new lower low at first, then we have to adapt and have a new range. But if we first pull back into the highs, then we have to be ready. And the majority of the pairs are having an 8-hourly region, or maybe you can even take a 12-hourly one, because it doesn't really matter where you trade from. If it pulls back, you should just be on your lower time frames looking for a trade. Okay, So then the second scenario will be the market is going to pull back something like this, lower high, and then we're going to flush to the downside. So those are my two situations, guys. And in both of those, I'm going to be looking for shorts just because this market is absolutely textbook bearish, and let's not miss out on them. Okay. So those are the Aussies. Let's have a look at the NZDs, which are pretty much the same. The NZDs, as I said, pretty much the same as the Aussies. We're having this very nice weekly push that broke structure, and right now we are in this pullback stage, right? So we are kind of still bullish once again on the weekly, but again, the sentiment has shifted to the downside, so it's really crucial to see what is actually going to happen in the upcoming week. And maybe once again the DXY maybe will decide to start pulling back, which is going to give us some bullishness on those pairs. But really, looking how the market is developing in the past weeks, I just don't have trust in it. I just keep shorting until I'm literally wrong, right? So pretty much what happened on this one is we had this pullback. The market actually opened with a nice pullback. It pulled back very nicely, and I do think I actually called this one setup. I think also on Tuesday I shared it. Very nice delivery. We pushed into the lows. We made a new lower low. Then we have a brand new range from the high to the low. We pulled back. Where is our region? It's inside this wick, or you can also take it as a big candle like this. We tapped inside, and the difference in NU is that we're already on the move down, so you should already been in a short from here targeting this low. So this one is pretty much already playing out, and I would really definitely expect the market to take out this low and then to potentially tap into this very strong area of demand. And then from there, I'm going to advise you to start waiting for a full hourly or an hourly shift of structure to really confirm that this market is going to go bullish. Okay, but for now we're bearish. How can we tackle this one? Well, we can go to the hourly to examine the most recent structure. So we had a push, a pullback, then a push that failed to make a new high. So this is your shift, and then this structure has been broken, which is a minor structure, right? This is your major low, this is your major high. Everything in between is minor. I'm gonna make a video on this one. Let me know if you wanted to. And then potentially we have this level that hasn't been retested yet, so we can head towards it first. And then again, guys, a couple of situations, which is like on every pair that I covered, we can first head for the lows to take out the lows, make a new lower low, and then pull back to take shorts. Or first, we can first pull back and then create a lower high and then to potentially pump into the highs. This is going to be nice because then all the people that are short from right there are going to be stopped, which is going to become liquidity and a fuel for the market to move lower. So those are my two situations that I expect on NZD/USD. Okay, shorts, but again, the question is, are we first going to push down, then pull back, or are we first going to push up, lower high, and then short? So let's see. And NJ looks a bit more bearish than that. And still, I drop this every week. There is your range on the weekly. We expect the market to pull back towards this region right here, then dropping onto the daily. Nothing too much to consider right there. What I really like about this one and why I consider it bullish is because look at the strength to the upside. It took 13 days to pull back, and we're already 29 days. It took 13 days to push up, and it took 29 days in this pullback. So it's definitely, the momentum is up, but right now we're having some very nice bearish price. Okay, the first region of potential reaction point I see is this one, so we still have some downside. And yes, break of structure is what we have. This is our new range from the low to the high. And once again, guys, which is pretty much the same as on every other pair, we already pulled back into 50%, and right now the question is are we going to pull back again for a lower high, then to flush, or are we first going to take out the low, then pull back for a lower high, and then flush? Okay, so there is your analysis. Very simple, following market structure, following the flow of the market, which has been bearish for quite some time, respecting bearish levels, making lower highs all the way to the downside. So all you need to do is being able to spot the major ones, and I do it with this tool, right? So this is how you can really know which one are your majors. So currently we're in this leg, and as long as this leg stays intact, whatever we do right there, it doesn't matter, right? So make sure that you take this lesson right there. And yeah, shorts on the NZDs. Let's see. Let's examine USD/JPY because it's a very interesting situation right now. So I pretty much expected this one because a lot of you guys were saying shorts, UJ already in a short, trying once again to catch the top. And of course, this could be the top, but it's not just gonna reverse. And we pretty much created this little trend line right there, which is liquidity. And then we just faked everyone outside of the trade. And yeah, right now it slightly looks like it's gonna reverse. So let's see. In terms of the daily, what I also like about it is that we had this little demand level right here. It's not very easily seen, but we pushed, we reacted, and then we broke structure, right, which is pretty much a break. But we had a bullish bearish formation, which is pretty much a fake as well. And if I drop to the 4 hourly, so this is where we reacted from it, and then we broke structure lower. So I can confirm right now that we could potentially start seeing some shorts because this was our major lower higher low. It was broken. We also had a little demand right there. It was broken, this one. We also created this pullback. It failed to put up a new high, and this one was broken as well. So, and putting all of this together, we also have this sort of liquidity being taken out. So right now I do think we can attempt to short this one, but keep in mind that we are overall bullish on the higher time frames, right? But yeah, we do expect some sort of a pullback. Again, it depends on the DXY, because in order for this to flush, DXY needs to flush. DXY is in a short area, right? And if they pretty much work together, I do think, guys, for those of you that trade UJ, this is when you can have your golden short opportunity on UJ. If the DXY once again taps into some sort of supply right there on top and then reverses to the downside, then this one is going to do the same. But right now, we also saw that the other JPYs kind of ended up in a slightly bearish mood. So let's see. This is my setup for now. It looks really good. Is this going to be the short opportunity? Let's see. It also looks a little bit like head and shoulders. Again, when something is too evident, is what I've learned from experience, it's not very simple. It doesn't tend to work out, but let's see. Okay, what I also like is that we had this high, so we actually broke this high, we took out the liquidity above, and then we broke to the downside, and right now we're in this very nice choppy correction up. Okay, so set your alerts right there. I'm actually going to do mine. I'm going to set an alert right there as UJ comes inside, and then we can potentially see if we can catch any shorts. If not, then we adapt, and make sure to stay tuned for my Tuesday analysis, where we're going to have a look at what happened on Monday and how we can go for ahead in the week. All right, let's examine what is happening with the GBPs, as always, starting from GU. So once again, we are bearish on the weekly time frame, having this push to the downside, and also have broken with the wick this structure right here. And once again, if we just consult on the left, not try to find where we can reverse from, I see this big wick as like a big sell-off before a buy, and we tapped actually this last week, and right now it looks like it tries to initiate a pullback, but it cannot really sustain. And once again, it really depends on the DXY. But pretty much this is the weekly. This is when it gets slightly bit tricky, because on the weekly, which is something that I've been trying to also figure out for myself. And guys, if some of you really try to trade all of the time frames, and it's really good to understand where you are, but let me show you something, right? Because if you're in the weekly right now, you wait for the market to pull back deeper. Maybe this is your level, right? But then what happens is the daily keeps moving down. So the daily makes push, pull back, push, pull back, push, pull back, push, pull back. And you are going to miss out on those moves, because this is the daily and you see more structure on the daily. If you drop on the 4 hourly, you're going to have even more opportunities. You can go long from right there, then you go short from there, long from there, short from there. So try to pick not as many time frames. Decide what kind of trader you are. If you are intraday, then your highest should be the 4 hourly, and then you drop 15, and then if you want to enter on any of those. If you want to trade more longer term, and maybe you enter on the hour, then of course consult with 4 hourly and daily, right? So figure this out for yourself. But pretty much if I remove this range and if I focus on what is happening right now, where is the last lower low? It's this one. Where does the lower low originate from? This guy, right? And what we had right there, we also I also shared this one in the last volume. We actually examined this wick right there, and this is why you have to work with lower time frames as well, because if you drop to the hour, this wick is basically this guy where we really plummeted with momentum. And as you can see, we tapped inside it right there on the 18th of November. Then we shifted the structure to the downside, and pretty much there is your short. It was taken by some members of the community. Also on Friday, there was a very nice short right there to be taken to the downside. And yeah, then there were of course a couple of trades to be taken on GU. If you trade like the 15-minute time frame, a long from right there, it's very volatile, and it wasn't really moving in a very nice flowing fashion. It was more like chopping around, but of course there are always opportunities, guys. All right, but let's try to focus on what could happen in the upcoming week. So if this is the supply that we're going to react from, and if the market is really going to reverse from there, then our target immediately goes to low. So this low could definitely be taken. And in terms of a potential reversal, well, this structure was broken, but is this a significant structure? Well, not really, because on this pullback, we did not create a new higher high. So if this was a higher high, this would have been a major higher low. When right now, where is our major higher low? Well, we can say that it's this one that we're reacting from right now. Okay, so currently it's very interesting to see who is gonna prevail. We are in an overall really bearish market, so we should be shorting this pair, right? But this is what is happening right now, and it really depends on the DXY. But if we expect that structure is gonna work as structure does, this low should be, or I should not say should, because it's not, it's basically you put your expectations on the market, and you cannot expect anything in the market. You can anticipate or you can just forecast, but yeah, the forecast goes as we are gonna be taking this low. Okay, so how can we play this one? Well, let's drop to the hour and examine what happens. The market took out the liquidity right there. We flushed to the downside, we broke it, we made a new low, and this became our new range. So we can see how we reacted, and we pretty much already pulled back into 50%, and we're already kind of on the move down. So my biggest question right now is, I can even take this big range, is once again, it's like all the other pairs that I just broke down, because they all pulled back into this region, is are we gonna first have a pullback right there to take a short, or are we gonna first have a lower low, then pull back and then take a short? Okay, my bias is shorts for right now. The full hourly is shorting, and until we remain below like this, below this major supply, and we really start seeing some very nice bullish pressure, creating new structure. Yes, we had bullish pressure right there, but we're bearish, right? This is our range, so we take shorts, and big push, very complex pullback. And right now I do expect all of this kind of flat pricing right there to be taken. So my outlook is shorts. The biggest question is, how do we enter? Well, there are your entries. Either at first we push into the highs and we short it from here. Secondly, we make a new low, which confirms a new lower low. Then we pull back, lower high, and then we short it again. Okay, and the targets are this 4 hourly low potentially. Okay, so this is my GU. Pretty simple, short bias. Let's see how we can play it. GJ also with the flush of UJ, we also saw some very nice reaction. This one opened in a very nice bullish manner. It pretty much very nicely pulled back. So I really hope some of you are running shorts already on GJ, because we pulled back into 50%. We reacted from there. We threw a couple of big wicks, and there was this demand level right there that the market was holding from. But then what we have right now is the MSS formation, which is a market structure shift. So we failed to make a new high. And right now we really strongly broke to the downside. So again, if we expect, or if we forecast, I don't know, or if we anticipate, I don't know what the right word we as traders should be using. I think anticipate it's better than expect, because expect is a guarantee. So you expect something to happen, but if you anticipate, then you know it could happen, but you know it could not happen as well, right? So pretty much from the high to the low, there is our range. Again, we already pulled back into 50%. The biggest question is, are we going to have a deeper pullback into this very big supply, which is pretty much where we flipped from demand to supply market, and then to potentially have a really nice sell. Okay, so once again, guys, I like all the other pairs that I dropped. We have this sort of high, which could be liquidity. So if we push into the highs into this level, it could be a very nice short. But if we first break the low, then we have to wait for a pullback, and then we have to short it again. Okay, and yeah, in terms of the weekly, this one was slightly bit tricky once again, because it was already in 50%, so it looks like longs on the weekly. And again, keep in mind that it could happen. We are just tapping into this weekly zone, and I do think we can tap a little bit deeper. If we try to see where the move really happened, it's this one. So if we tap into this one, I'm gonna start being careful. And because possibly from here we can start seeing some bullishness to the upside, but this is going to depend on the DXY, on UJ as well, and on all other factors. So currently GJ is short, so let's keep it shorting. GA, this one is very nicely pumping into the highs, and I do think I did this forecast, didn't I, guys? I never get GA wrong. but I really hope, I don't even know what I mentioned on GA. So excuse me about this, guys, but this is not my pair. I don't know what's happening on this one. But yes, we have a daily push into the highs, which really nicely broke structure into the highs. I'm really not sure what I forecasted on this one. I have to check my previous weekly outlook. Probably I shouted this level. We also have tons of liquidity built up right there with tap inside and a massive reversal into the highs. So right now, as we have this big push, which also looks like a daily push. Yes, it is a daily push. We have our range, oops, from the low to the high. What we want to see is a pullback. Okay, so let's see if we get any pullback, but if the market pulls back and then breaks structure, then don't be afraid to follow the new ranges. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna only say on GA. I am bullish, and potentially if this one is a weekly level, then we can start having a lot of bullishness right there, which means bearishness on AU, right? But yeah, pretty much looking for a pullback towards the zone, higher low formation, and then a push. But if this doesn't happen, and if we first pull back then break, then I'm just gonna continue going with the trend. Okay, so those are my two expectations for GA. And let's have a look at this guy right there. That is very massively pushing to the downside. Wow. And it has created a weekly lower low. So this is a break on the weekly, which creates a new weekly range. But of course, we're gonna examine also the full hourly range. Let's see what is happening right here. Yeah, this one was looking pretty bullish, didn't it, guys? I think I was calling some bullishness. I do think I had this level right there to look for longs, but it just smashed. Euro USD is very weak. GU is kind of stronger than EU, and this is why Euro GBP, of course, is flushing, right? This pair is really difficult for me always. So usually I would love to play it with the range, which is this one, right? So I would love to see it pull back towards the 50% and then try to short it from a level like this, let's say, but that is way too much to pull back. If I really zoom in to see what's happening right now, we have those little candles right there of reactions. We had this little lower high that the market looks like it reacted from. So let's see if we're gonna break. And then if we break, then we look for a pullback, lower high, and a continuation down. Okay, I'm only gonna be looking for reversals if we break above this zone, come back for a clear retest, and then to potentially trade it higher. So Euro GBP is something that I cannot read too well. It's not a pair that I understand, but this is how I'm gonna approach it if this is a trading day. Personally, I would be short bias, and this will be my target. Okay, so if the market first of all pulls back into the highs a little bit so I can spot a short opportunity, I will take it. But if it first breaks the low, then of course I'm gonna look for a pullback and a continuation down. Okay, so the GBPs are not looking that bad. GU possibly shorts. It's what I'm gonna be looking for because it's just a beautiful shorting market. GJ, it's also looking like shorts, especially after this very nice bearish leg. I would definitely expect this low to be broken. But the question is, are we first gonna pull back or are we first gonna break the low? This is the question of many pairs. GA is bullish, so let's see how the structure forms, and Euro GBP is bearish. We just need to see some sort of an opportunity, all right? So those are the GBPs. Let's have a look at some indices and cryptos. I almost forgot about gold. Let's see what is happening on this one. So once again, we're sitting in this weekly supply region. And what we see happen this week is that on the 16th, we manipulated the highs and then we created a very strong bearish engulfing candle. Then we pulled back a little bit, and right now it looks like also that the full hourly is changing the structure. So shorts are actually intact on gold. And but again, this could be just a pullback to the downside to gather some more orders, to take a lower price so more people can buy from 1800s, for example, and then to potentially start heading for the highs. Okay. A couple of levels that I expect a reaction from is this one. Why? Because have a look, we had a sell and then a very massive buy, which means that a lot of orders were initiated. And then the second one was this one, which is also inside this very big weekly range. Okay. So currently what I can see is that we have started to shift the structure. So this was a higher low, higher high, boom, break of structure, pullback, lower high, pretty much failure to break above. And right now we have a brand new lower low as well, which is really good. Where does this lower low originate from? It's from right there. So there is our shorting area. So pretty much if we have a pullback right there, guys, I would be shorting, and first target right there, second target's 1800s, which is where I would love to see the price, and which is where I think longer term we can have this pullback. And then because inflation and all that stuff, people are starting to put money in gold, and we can clearly see this on the chart as well, especially like since November started. And yeah, I am bullish in gold overall, but right now we can see that we're starting to shift structure. So let's see if we can catch any shorts on the way down and then to potentially bump into a bigger long. I'm also thinking of an investment, but I'm not really investing in gold and I do not like it. There are much better instruments than gold, but let's see what's gonna happen. All right, let's examine some indices. So pretty much US 30 is playing out very nicely. I do believe it's the only index that is having a bearish week. Some of the companies right there are not performing great. But my forecast was this region right there. We tapped inside and I think I was doing my Tuesday outlook right here and I called a short, which is going very well right now, which is a great short for an index. And yeah, keep in mind, so I do think this low right there could be taken out because it serves as liquidity. But if this one gets taken out, then we're gonna definitely open up towards these regions. So still guys, I only share long-term analysis on these guys. I am looking for this sort of region. So as soon as we tap 35, this is buy area and I'm gonna start putting money in. Right now we're shorter term shorts, right? We also have a new lower low right there. So that means that our lower high is this one. It also took out some bits of liquidity right there, a little bit of manipulation. So this makes it a pretty strong region. So if we pull back right there, we can have another short. If we start pulling back at the beginning of the week, then we can have another short. So let's see, usually when it comes to the end of the month or around mid-month, we're having some pullbacks across all indices. So this is good to see, but Mr. Nasdaq, tech companies are doing amazing and this one is already at all-time highs once again. So we have to move our range a little bit into the highs. And yeah, so this one is moving up and as we move up, then we keep buying. And yeah, I have nothing to say on this one just because I don't want to drop to a lower time frame than the full hours. I even stay only on the daily on those things. But yes, we pretty much have a new high, so which means that we have a new higher low right here as well. So eventually if you pull back towards this area, you can guys look for some scalps to the upside. But eventually, yes, we would like to see it pull back a little bit lower, but nothing too new. And S&P, which is my main guy, is chopping around. It made a new high once again, but it's just with a wick. So it took some sort of liquidity. So I really hope we're going to have an end of month sell-off on this one. It's starting to lose some steam. Some companies are doing actually, we're having some pullbacks on some companies. Which is always very good to see. But yes, not a big development. As you can see, since we opened on the 15th, we've pretty much been moving in a range. We're still pretty much bullish, all right? So I am looking for a very clear invalidation of a major higher low, which is going to be this one. Like on the daily, yeah, on the daily even it's this one. So as long as we remain above this one, we are bullish. And if we break this one, then this is gonna open up for a great shorting opportunity or a great buying opportunity if you use dollar cost averaging. And yes, potentially I will be putting money in from right there and potentially from right here. So let's see if we're gonna have any further pullbacks on S&P. And Bitcoin is already pulling back very nicely. So it's a very nice almost 20% pullback, which is a great buying opportunity because it does not pull back a lot more than that usually when you have a clear pullback for potential buy and it's not a crash, right? So I perceive this as a nice pullback and I put in some holdings from a 56. I think I bought it. Yeah, I bought some from right there, but I didn't buy a lot. I'm just slowly starting to scale in because I took my holdings at the all-time highs and right now I'm starting to scale back using those earnings to scale back. But yeah, we still haven't had the 50%. And of course, we also have this very nice 50K region, which is where I really want to buy from, right? So pretty much I am still waiting, starting to slowly put inside. This one is looking nicely in profit already, like it's math. I bought it from 56 and right now it's already almost 59. I didn't buy one Bitcoin, of course, but yeah, hopefully soon we're gonna get close to that. And yep, I am still slightly bearish on this one because we have been bearish for some time. The momentum is really to the downside. So for me, this supply is really crucial because if we hold from this supply, then this is gonna mean that we're gonna have another sell-off, which is of course another great opportunity for you bears to sell and for me to buy even more because I don't really trade this one. I only invest long term. I kind of swing trade it, I can say. So yeah, this is my outlook on Bitcoin. If you're looking to invest, start scaling it because it's a nice drop from the highs. And also Ethereum dropped, but I really thought that Ethereum has a bit more space to pull back. It simply reacted from this very nice 4-hourly demand level right there. I bought Bitcoin because Bitcoin was also a daily region. I really liked it. So what I want to see right now on ETH is if this one is gonna fail right there, and if you're gonna have a clear close above, and then if it does, we can start looking for the longs. Okay. But yes, I would really love to buy this one a little bit. This one is not a very, yeah, it's not a lot. It's still 18%. Like, definitely should have bought some of Ethereum as well. But if we have another shorting opportunity, then I'm definitely gonna start buying from this region. So I'm definitely gonna put a big holding. So this is not a signal or financial advice, but 38, or maybe if we dip below 4K clearly, it's gonna be a good buy. So let's see if we're gonna have it. And pretty much this is all the crypto, my old crypto updates. And I really hope you enjoyed this weekly outlook and setups, guys. Thank you so much for staying up until now. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe as well, because I'm definitely gonna start posting more. Currently, as you said, I'm not really focused. Also want to pay more attention to trading because I have a lot of stuff to work on there. Also, I'm working on improving my community. As I told you, in 2022, we're gonna have a lot of changes introduced, so make sure that you get in right now so you can secure your lifetime access. All right, so if you're watching this during the weekend, I wish you an amazing one, amazing preparation. Make sure to review, reflect, or if you're watching this during the week, let's crush it. All right, and see you on my Tuesday Telegram update.